Thanks for joining me again as this morning on ITV, and we are looking at TINUBU, President Tinubu's student-driven policy as regards the loan facility, being given to indigent Nigerian students. And of course, we'll look at what can be done to salvage the issue concerning admissions, where we have challenges of the quota system and of course, religious sentiments, tribal sentiments, crowding such area of admissions. We're going to be looking at that on this show, and I'm going to be having an opportunity, to be looking at this with a one-time or immediate past chairman of ASU, Uniben chapter, and the HOD chemistry department, and also reappointed yesterday as the HOD again of chemistry department, running a second term. And he's a third term, wow, and he is a chemist, as that implies, and a public affairs analyst. And we must say, Professor, congratulations on that new feat.
Thank you very much, Philip, for having me this morning. Right. And good morning, viewers.
Okay, Professor Julius Iyasele, we want to say, looking at what we have before us, as regards the loan facility that has been the loan bill that has been passed into law by the president, and a lot of nods have been given in the direction of applauding what the president did, which is quite a relief, to the students, looking at the burden before them in terms of coping with school, paying through paying tuition fees and all of that. What do you make? How do you greet this development?
Yes, that the public greeted the loan bill is left to opinions like we have here. It's left to bookmakers. Like we have always seen in this country, policies are good, but implementation remains our Achilles heel. And with what has been given, we tend to follow some countries without looking at the prevailing factors. There are several factors that are inimical. They are going to prevail against this bill in the country here. Number one is, who are those that are qualified to assess the loan? As it were, broadly, they are students. But then some conditions have also been put at the gate of assessing that loan. For instance, it said if you have a parent that earn more than 500 and above, you are not qualified for the loan.
That's annually?
Yes. And once you do a calculation on that, what it means is that a parent that earns the minimum wage of 30,000 naira a month, cumulatively, a child from such a home
is qualified.
Is not qualified.
No, annually. Looking at 30,000
yes,
for running through 12 months,
yes,
annually, that's 360,000.
Yes.
So, and the law says that if the parents earn over 500,000 naira annually, they will not be qualified.
Yes.
But in this case, you just said, it's not even up to 500,000 naira. So, which means such as students, or such children, that are students in Nigerian universities qualified.
You say, no, maybe you've not looked at the calculation very well. A minimum wage parent cannot assess the loan because at the end of the day, they earn more than 500. Yes. They earn more than 500.
At 30,000 naira?
Yes. That you are just talking at a parent, maybe a father.
Okay, a parent. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Once cumulatively you have a father and mother in the house and they are earning 30,000 and all that, they will not. The child from such a home won't be qualified because they have earned more than 500.
That's why it's meant for the indigent.
Exactly. That's where I'm coming. That is where I'm coming to. So what it means is that is an indigent student that whose parent and less than 500
Annual.
that will be qualified for that loan. And so if you look at that, can somebody who earns 30,000 every month be able to send any child down to school with the cost? You know, by yesterday, in fact, the Senate of Ambrose Ali University almost had their meeting away from the campus, maybe in the bush, nobody knows, because the gates are permanently locked. I think the lecturers have even been told to stay away, the staff stay away from school, because it is clear, my brother, there's no two-way about it. There's no way they can afford that education. The rich children have, during the strike and during COVID, have traveled out. The politicians have sent their children outside the university, outside the country to go school. So it is somewhat very, very difficult that we are going to have that loan accessible by so many students in Nigerian university, because another factor that I want to also add is that you are told that you need a guarantor. Somebody need to guarantee that student loan, because if you finish from school or finish from NYSC scheme, you are given 2 years within which to repay the loan.
That's if you've gotten a job.
No, not if. They didn't put if you have gotten a job. Is that 2 years after school, you should be able to repay the loan.
2 years after the national service.
Yes. And you and I know that there is no job anywhere, no vacancy anywhere for any child to access. In fact, if you ever see any, there are many of these companies run by Asians, and the average salary many of them pay is between 15,000 to 30,000 naira to a graduate in a month. And so you will now ask yourself, for such a graduate that has just gained such employment, starting from ordinary the purchase of a broom with which to sweep the house, to an average complete bed, you and I know that there's such person cannot afford any right now with the prevailing prices in the economy. And so nobody is suicidal, therefore, for somebody to now opt to now guarantee such loan for any student. So you are going to find that some persons will look for who will guarantee them, and they will not find. So that excludes such a student again, that the student cannot access the loan. So many, and then those are two fundamentals. But then there are the other remote factors that are there, like you know, that are this loan approved, just like government at the time came out to say they have given palliatives to citizens of this country. And at the end of the day, for many of them that were perishable, they were found in warehouses, rotting away and all that. That is because they couldn't implement, making these palliatives to reach those who were entitled to. And that's another, one of these remote factors that I'm talking that is also going to be one. That the loan, those whom the loans are meant for, cannot eventually reach the loan because of policies of, not, I mentioned the two other policies, I'm talking about remote reasons. Okay. For instance, at the end of the day, they will allocate it to some politicians as constituency allowance. You are the one to bring, this is the number allocated to you in your area. These are the number of students that we will allow you.
I think you are trying to, you are regurgitating on the past administrations.
No, I'm not.
This present administration, we basically want to kick against.
See, this administration, well, it means that very soon we will sing Uhuru. if you are saying so, that this administration, but somehow, these people have not, the same persons have not changed. We may have changed the president, or they may have changed the president, but the people who execute, the civil servants are still the same persons that are there. The political urchins and whatever, bystanders, corridor patrollers are still the same persons. And so these are the people who are going to appropriate all this. At the end of the day, the loan will not reach those that it is meant for.
Okay, let's not act or look as if we are being presumptive.
Yeah, it's
being pessimistic. Yeah, but
okay.
But you made mention of the guarantor, for instance.
Yes.
Such applicant may not be able to see the light of the day as regards having a guarantor.
Yes.
Now, it depends on what conditions, are tied to the guarantor's form, that will make such guarantor not to do that.
They have said that the guarantor will go to prison.
I don't think it's as stringent.
No, they have said that the guarantor will go to prison if within the stipulated time the loan is not paid back. You see,
have you seen the blueprint of the act?
Yes, I read in the papers. Have you seen? When we copy things from other clients, we should look at the effect that it has visited on these environments. Currently, the United States, where this scheme is available, the government, they are complaining because they are crushing under the intense weight of loan body. And we are just copying. We have not looked at what are the effects of bringing this. Because at the end of the day, the citizens, the students can't pay back, or graduates, as it were, cannot pay back because they may not have found job. That is, and then even they found any, they will be underemployed. Don't we know the prevailing salaries in this country? What they pay in Nigeria? Are we regulating anything? Many of even the companies that are thriving here are non-Nigerian based companies, because those who are the money bags here, those who are carrying our money, those in the political sector, they don't invest. These people, okay, what is really painful in this country is that those who would defraud, as it were, or take money from government coffers in this country, if they were investing in Nigerian economy, then it should be at least make jobs available to the citizens. But they don't do that. They just convert, many of them. I heard they said how one politician was advising them, say, go and convert all your money to dollars and keep. And before you know it, the money will be growing and all that.
Okay.
I keep it under cooking pots and everywhere. You remember these other people back in Zoo and all that, they store money in overhead tanks and all that. If this money were being turned around, invested in productive venture and all that, then citizens will have a place to work in. But now,
I understand your grounds. And
yes.
Looking at the terms of agreement, conditions tied to it, that's
yes.
basically what
yes.
could bring about a withdrawal from having such aims being, met,
yes.
As you have put it. But don't you think you should be given a head start? Because if you don't start a scheme or a process, you wouldn't know exactly how it feels or where it pinches. And it would have been advised if it starts and then in the process is being reviewed. Or are you against the facility entirely?
See, I'm a researcher. Nigerians are intelligent people. We have over how many universities in this country where what would have been done is ask those maybe in the humanities and social sciences to study, do a proposal on this and return back to government. We have cried before that government is not working with the universities and all that. Give it to research institutes to find out where are we going to with this? What eventually will happen? What are the bottlenecks and all that? But they won't do. They just, this is you just look at the psyche of the society and then say something so that you would have pleased them and all that. There's no way with the conditions there, and there's no way those conditions won't be there, except government is now considering that money as a grant, not as a loan.
Okay.
Because as it stands, there's no way citizens of this country, those who will take the loan, can pay back, because jobs have not been provided. I want to thank the current governor of Edo State. With the policy, what I saw recently, even I was invited to the graduation set of this life science, science laboratory tech in Uniben. And I also there when the best student in some of the programs were also given a scholarship by the same government. I just hope that it is implemented. We have seen the best girl in law in LASU, a few days ago, granted also scholarship to go to law school and all that. That was what we used to know of government. At least that is a provision of a job. You understand? Somebody like that can boldly take loan and pay back. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
But if others are doing so around the country, and then those who have also money have also gone to establish businesses and all that, it would have been good.
Okay.
Boldly, you beat your chest, you go and take loan. From what we are seeing, if these conditions in the society remains of no job, and you are bringing on loan, and you are saying that after 2 years they must pay back, nobody. If you come to approach me to guarantee loan, I will not.
Oh, okay, but the way the act is subject to review. And don't you think, let's look at it from this perspective, on the need of the indigent, to have, to be able to pay through, as they are schooling. Don't you see the need of the indigents to really access a facility as this?
Otherwise, how is he going to go to school?
Okay. So if you look at it from that perspective, look at it from that perspective, don't you think even as they go along,
yes,
there could be reviews,
okay,
where even such debt could be,
forgiven? Like America did recently.
We've seen
America did that recently.
Such cases, yes.
So
the main thing is to give it a head start.
Yeah, the issue is not to retreat from it. Okay. You understand, or shy away from it, as it were. But if I will take the loan for the student, if it's available and I can assess it, because I have also said assessment is the problem. Assessing the loan is another bottleneck, because the students might not be able to get to the point where they will be able to take the loan, because by that time they would have been, politicians, those with that strength, with claws and all of that, would have sequestered them. You understand? So, but if they can assess it, if it is my own country that is putting me in prison, let them go and put me in prison. Okay. But the only problem they are also going to face is that the check they are going to have is that guarantor issue.
I understand the shortfalls that you just said,
yes,
as regards
will you guarantee such loan?
Oh, we're coming there. As regards the political intrigues that may be tied to it.
Yes.
But you seem to be accessing or having an assessment of the present administration as that which has not changed, or which will not be changing in the narrative. What makes you think so?
When I used to follow my parents to the farm, and in that very early days, matches was not even available. To get matches was, and so what you do is that the tiny firewood, maybe that you have used throughout the night to sleep, because it was cold, very cold, way back in the village. I'm saying all of this so that some person will know where we are coming from.
The background.
Yes. So it is that firewood that you will take, with which you are going to make fire in the farm, so that you can roast yam and then eat while you walk in the farm. And there's a tale that follows that it is from that home, when you pick the firewood, you look at it, you know whether the fire on it will get to the farm. It is from where you are taking it, not when you already, do you understand what
that's an idiomatic expression?
Exactly. So that is why I'm not saying that the loan, the government that we are saying with what has visited us very recently. I think we have almost passed 1 month of administration. Having removed
over a month.
Over a month now. Having removed
the petrol
subsidy on the,
which a lot has greeted as a welcome development.
Yes, you know why people greeted that? Because in a way, Nigerians are very, very dissatisfied with previous government because of corruption. There's a kind of secrecy that shrouds the subsidy, petrol subsidy. And so Nigerians are happy that at least we can breathe a little from the weight of corruption by that removal. Although several governments have removed subsidy, I hope you know. Yeah.
Okay.
And so that is the support you are saying from the people. The hope is that, yes, at least that leakage, source of leakage had been shut and thereabout or closed. Not because we are thinking from what we are saying. I need to be proved wrong. Because the same persons, what I expect, if you look at the Middle East now, if in Eastern Africa, where you see young men coming into power now and all that, you see what they do. For instance, one thing I expected from the first day is that everybody in government, we are going to cut down the cost of governance. Exactly. Have you seen that? And then last people...
That could be in the pipeline.
But some persons counted a few days ago about 120 cars in the convoy. Some calls said, okay, for the president it was about 60, maybe the others another 60. So if you look at that, you know the volume of PMS that is in 120 cars on the road. And those PMS, for instance, they are not paid for by the same persons. They are free. They go to dumps and just take. It's against what you and I suffer. So now, with that, we have not heard of government come out. There's nothing like First Lady in the Constitution. I'm shutting down such office. There are some ministries that have been created just to assist some political helpers. Let me put that like that. We are also shutting them down.
But don't you think that would be too much to ask for within this short possible time? Because in 1 month,
if you could mention subsidy removal,
the president,
no, you see, these are
what people say. Philip, in 1 month, the president has done well.
Philip, these are the subsidy, these are the palliatives that would have also supported the subsidy removal. When you are removing, bringing pain and visiting pain on the public, the next thing you are supposed to do immediately is to create, a pressure gauge.
Yeah, to cushion the effect.
That is it. So what are we saying? Nothing like that. So why would you think that I would think that the government is going to do so well?
Can't we be hopeful?
Yes, I am also hopeful. The truth about it is that, yes, for some time that I have always told people that the man who engineered the recovery of Lagos is our current president. Although some argue with me.
That's his core point.
Yes. Although some argue with me, but I said, I used to know the roundabouts around Ojota and all these places. He started that and others built on it. I know that.
So he has his own leadership style.
Yes, but
that score points.
Yes, but I was thinking that should be, if he was still the same person 10 years ago, that has come into governance. I hope he will be able to push some of the policies through. But the way you can't continue to pressure the people, because we are living things, we are not inanimate.
Okay, let's look at what has been said, so far concerning this investment in the educational sector. Now, UNESCO has been saying that Nigeria is losing it in terms of even funding education with 26% of its resources, all just because we've been battling with insecurity, and our budget seems to be having much weight thrown on the defense ministry, and not being able to even actualize 26% of funding our educational sector.
We have never exceeded 9%.
Do you see this loan facility as also overburdening the resources of the government?
Are we overburdening the resources of government? We're not. You know how much...
Because the government is yet to even get 26%.
No, the last was 4.8.
And now it's the drive of loan facility.
The last was 4.8.
Oh.
We never gotten more than... The highest was at one time, I think, Jonathan, 9%.
Okay, which is still an abysmal difference.
Yes, and you still talked about 26. Many countries outside. You see, maybe, like I've said somewhere that maybe these people don't know the importance of the education, and somebody cautioned me and said it's not as if they don't know the importance. They know. Otherwise, they won't be sending their children outside to go to school. The truth about it is that what will reduce the pressure of a society, what will develop a country, is education. Maybe we don't know. Let me tell you, if you look at the youths of this country, the population of youths, it's very, very high, about 30 or thereabout, or 36. And the receptacle for this class of citizens is maybe, for instance, the tertiary education. That is where you keep this. And Nigerians have imbibed the attitude of going to school. You want to go to school. Why will we now, as a country, as a people, now change, frustrate that opportunity, because I call it opportunity, that we now have? Because societies take time to plead. Were we not the one that was saying that no, child labor in the east should stop, and margeries in the north should stop? We must try and get our children to go to school because of what school can do for citizens of a country.
But a lot of these resources that would have been used for education is being thrown into tackling insecurity.
See,
the bulk of it is with the Ministry of Defense. So how do you describe that?
I don't think the bulk is.
Don't you think until we are able to get this insecurity tackled, that's when we may have a relief.
The bulk is not
improving on other sectors.
I disagree with you. The bulk is not. From the amount of money we're voting for this subsidy, was it not more than what was even going to
the Ministry
yes,
of Defense?
It was more. The bulk of our money is going into the Ministry of Corruption. I'm telling you, individuals who will just come and cut public money away, and nobody asks them. That is just what it is now. It is not. If we as a people decide tomorrow, if the president comes out tomorrow and say, I have this, I have this, I have this, I have this. Gentlemen and ladies of Nigeria, if at the end of my administration you find anything more than than the salary you pay me, then let everybody come and stone me. I'm telling you that the complexion that you are saying will change. And reel out the same riot act to all the co-travelers in government. That let us now decide to turn this country around. That one, how much are they giving to even the security ministry? How much? And yet we are still where we are. That is not the problem. It's not that at all. It's not the money given that is affected. It's just that they have not decided to actually want to rescue this country.
Okay, just in case you're just watching this morning on ITV, and we are looking at President TINUBU's student-driven policies as a way of improving or deepening, the whole aspect that has to do with bringing respite in the area of the educational sector. And looking at that, I've been discussing with Professor Julius Iyasele, who is the HOD of Chemistry Department, running the third term, and was reappointed yesterday. And also he is the immediate past chairman of ASU, Uniben chapter, and a public affairs analyst. Now, let's deepen our conversation and look at the area of the students, for instance. We have okay, let's look at this aspect of the loan facility. Now, a lot has been said in the area of bringing succor, to the students. And what do you see as, if not for loan facility, but let's look at the other way, because you mentioned of grants, being given to the students. Now, do you see that as a drive that can also see the light of the day, looking at the Nigerian factor?
Oh, the last time I traveled, I met a friend working on a computer, because we were supposed to be in for another program, and most of the time there were figures he was manipulating on his computer. And I asked him, I said, what are you doing? He said that a man in his community had given him a project to handle. That is to handle scholarship scheme. I mentioned the governor of Edo State. Mm-hmm. He had given him a scholarship scheme to handle for members of his community, children who are interested in going to school and all that. One way also we can have respite for this society is the government can also come out to appeal to our citizens to also come to their aid. Those who have the money out there should come out for various communities. If you want, that is members of your community.
Like what is obtainable in the bursary?
Yes, bursary award.
Bursary awards.
And all that. If you want that bursary award given by government, but now there should be an appeal to members of the community or society to help to educate our citizens. Okay. From community from one community to the other. Although I hear in some places that is already being done, where some teachers are paid by the community. If you want the public school in your place to run smoothly, you need to, as that's collectively, as member of the community, to now fund that aspect of employing some teachers to teach children in schools, okay, in the community. Those are programs that can be supported. I expect government, I expect commissioners of education, for instance, to move around, appeal to the people, and tell them the reality of the times, and help. This is what, these are the problem. The government should come really, really close to the people.
Okay. Let's still look at this loan facility and give it more flesh as regards what is being argued over, being restricted to only, students who are in the government institutions and not private. But reports have it that it can also embrace that, where the policy or the act can be reviewed, to accommodate both the private, the public institution students, and of course also the private. What do you make of this?
Yes, the government, as it were, have responsibility to the private or to the public education, to public education, public universities, public or tertiary institutions, or even at the secondary school level and thereabout. Yeah. You understand? It is your will if you chose to go to a private school.
But are there not indigent students also in private schools?
I don't think so. Because we know in this country,
there are some students who even pay their way through in private schools. I have records of that. So they are still indigent.
I'm surprised to hear that, because you know that what reason or reasons have such a student to opt for a private school?
Probably was not able to go through, you know, admissions at the point of entry.
That means that such student is not also meant for that level of education. You know, the problem we also have is that everybody coming out of school now wants to go to the university. It is not the university alone. We used to have university, you have college of education, you have polytechnics and all that. We should also develop, you know, other types of schools. You know, in those days we used to have schools, catering schools, and all that.
Okay, but don't forget that we have challenges, you know, which we also form part of our discussion or conversation. You know, where the quota system, for instance, you know, has limited a lot of students who really who were qualified, you know, to get into university, but because of other areas where that has to do with maybe letter of reference, you know, and also the positions of persons, you know, giving this way for their own persons, you know, relatives to get into school, has brought about a situation where those who have high grades are not able to access admission, while we have those who have poor grades accessing admission. You know, like the quota system, for instance, where even those who have poor grades, you know, are given admission at the detriment of those who have high grades. How do you tackle that? Is that not a bane in the educational development?
Yeah, you come to, it's a very terrible thing, actually. Let me give you an illustration, now that we are talking about that, the quota system. Do you know the illustration I want to give you is that you have children in the school at Aduwawa in Benin City here. Let's take a public school, for instance, in Aduwawa in Benin. And then in such a class, it should be cosmopolitan. You know, many of our members of this society from across, that is, for instance, from the north.
Okay.
You know, that the community there, the population of those people are really high in such areas.
Yes.
Let's, for instance, look at 2 from such class have enrolled into JAMB. And then 1 is from Taraba, and another is from Edo State. You know, Edo State is classed as not educationally disadvantaged, whereas Taraba is an educationally disadvantaged state. And from JAMB criteria for admission, the educationally disadvantaged state is given priority over. And so you might find that the child from Taraba who scored less than than the child from Edo State
is given of the state.
Yes, is given admission in University of Benin because he is from educationally disadvantaged state, whereas the other is from...
Doesn't make sense. Is that justice?
It's not. We've talked about this. This was visited on this nation at a time, and some others from some extraction in this country were sleeping when some of these policies were being done. Education at least is to, you know, the intention is to get the best out of the lot. Do you understand? Then now, you now frustrate your best because of one primordial policy or the other, which is inimical to growth. Those are some of the things that brought in all these kind of second-hand issue, diploma, this, that, and all of that. And then, you know, the issue is that there are ways people retreat to conditions like that. define alternatives. That is what you were talking about people not trying to go to
private
schools and all that. This is the truth about it is an evil from government. And people did it then just to help their environment.
We have a case like this where in the Harvard University such popped up, and it was a big surprise to me that such a developed clime, could also have this issue where they give preferential treatment to a race, those who are of same race, and of course those who have letter of reference from big position holders, and of course looking at other reasons, even the quota system. And those who were not given admission in the Harvard University, they clustered and made a case in the court. And the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the students.
Yes.
And so now made it possible that, admission should be given based on qualification, based on what is obtainable as per the grades, and not by those ways of cutting corners, in
primordial issues.
Yes. Now, if we can have same here,
but that is the problem. Many of our policies are tailored after America and all that. Meanwhile, our legal system is not fortified enough, to take the correct position or correct decision and all that. That's the problem we have there. Can you imagine any child rising here or group of children rising to now go
to the court?
To court. Will anybody listen to them here? Will they even be able to access the court? That is the problem we have. When you import policies from another clime, please design antidotes. Make sure that your system is strong enough to be able to, to counter it. That is the problem. Look at it, that's in Harvard. Somebody would have brought that, because especially now that they are saying that black communities are rising in the US. So policies will be coming. We want to stop them, to stem them from that growth. Isn't it? Yes. That is what you have. But then, thank God that they have, a strong legal system that was able to procure justice for the people who are, those who approach the court. Okay. But you won't get that here.
Okay. But what's your urge in that direction?
We should. They should repeal all those policies. It is the same thing with what they call it now. There's one other ministry in terms of employment, and I've forgotten what they call them now. That you have a way of employing people. The word has escaped me. Okay. That if you are from such and such an area, you have better opportunity. Federal Character Commission. Okay. It's a commission of government to handle a type of kind of employment that if you are from such an area, then you have an opportunity. In fact, we have killed excellence in Nigeria by all this. By quota system, you are killing excellence. By Federal Character Commission, you are killing excellence. And we thought we need the best anywhere. Because what we are seeing that we are fumbling and wobbling every time is because, those who don't know are in positions of governance, are in positions of leadership. These are people without ideas. Ideas rule the world and all that. You can't lead a system without ideas, without intelligence and all that. Otherwise, that system will suffer.
Okay. In as much as you've already shared your opinion, in this regard as pertaining to the loan facility, the even bill that has been given assent to by the president, that is now a law. Some are of the view that if we slip at this without taking adequate steps to monitor through, it's going to surprise us that just like what you are saying now, that some persons may not even be able to access it. But it's going to surprise us that at the end of October, we're going to be seeing thousands of people accessing it. Now, some have also said that sentiments as per tribal sentiments, religious sentiments should be put aside, in accessing this facility. What's your opinion in this direction?
It would have been good if we can implement. If we can avoid sentiments from coming in. If sincerely they will allow the policy to go through. But I have told you of where we are as a nation, the level of poverty and many things, and then the kind of government we are coming out from, where nepotism was so high and all that. So if care is not taken, people are already beginning to criticize that this same administration is almost towing the same line. If that is anything to go by, why won't it also affect the prosecution of the loan? That is for those who are going to assess the loan. Okay, and another thing is the ignorance of the public, of the society also. For instance, let's look at the members of the board to administer that loan. ASU, as stakeholders, are supposed to be a member. They are supposed to be a member of that board.
Okay, but, of the government board.
Yes, but you have heard that students, whether NANS or what they call them, had said that they should remove ASU from the board and all that. And we just laugh. This same thing was brought by Babalakin when ASU asked for revitalization of the universities. And Babalakin said some years ago that government cannot fund public education, that the government was going to answer for, and ASU said no. And Babalakin suggested that this same student loan and all that. That was why ASU fought Babalakin, because we know what is good. You know, once the student starts assessing loan, the government is going to enhance of funding of education. That is giving subvention or whatever to the universities. Let me tell you that a university will pay over 50 million in a month for ordinary electricity supplied by also government.
Okay, is that why you are of the view that there should be a member of ASU or the ASU?
They were supposed to be, ASU is supposed to be a major check.
Okay.
On that board.
Against any arbitrary.
Yes. And that's why I said it's ignorance.
Okay, but what makes you think that the NANS, spotted? What reason do you think they spotted?
No, they are handy gloves with ASU over. You know, when because of when we were on strike, they were criticizing and saying that we were punishing them by keeping them at home and all that. Okay. Not looking at the causative factor of the strike, why we went on strike. They didn't consider that that the lecturers, the way lecturers, what they pay lecturers actually is insulting to lecturers. They didn't look at this revitalization we are talking about. They are not,
the benefit that they just get from
yes, they just want to get certificate and go out of the university. Does it work like that? Is it possible? And all that. So the issue here is that the government, they are fighting ASU. Their belief is that we go on strike, we make them stay in school for some lengthy period and all that. But why are we fighting? Is it not for you? Because now, if they pull this through and decide to visit a school fees, and when we started, we mentioned that ECPOMA is under lock and keys. Do you understand? If that comes to other public universities, how many of Nigerian students can access public education?
So you are saying that by this loan facility,
yes,
it could have another effect on shooting up tuition fees?
That is where we are going to now. That is where we are going to. Momentarily, so many universities are already increasing their charges. They still call it charges because tuition fee are not, government is still handling tuition fees. But by the time they implement the loan thing, they are likely to hands off their, tuition. And so students will not be made to pay tuition. And so the school fees may now be either at par with private universities or maybe slightly lower.
Okay, what's your perception about the president in terms of being disposed to students' welfare as compared to the predecessor?
The predecessor said that what GDP does education contribute to Nigerian government? And so that tells you what the mindset. Do you understand? And you now have a president who is now talking about loan for students. So what it means is that one
it's liberal.
was adverse and caustic to education, and the same president sat back for 8 months. Tertiary education was almost comatose and didn't bother until we also decided that I want to return back. It is like your child is crying for something and you are watching the child cry blood and you won't bother.
Without being perturbed.
Yes. So that tells you who that kind of mother is.
So you see the president as a listening president?
This president is trying to do something.
Okay, so does that give you hope in terms of revisiting
the only thing is
discussions on the table with him as per ASU?
Obviously. I expect by now that the president would have paid us the backlog, the outstanding, the salaries that were seized by the XY administration.
But don't you think that would be too early because he just started office roughly a month and he needs more time to settle?
In fact, I expected that pronouncement at his inaugural speech. If you need to curry support from some MDAs and arm of government, arm of the society. If he had pronounced that, because we are the thinkers for government, whether you like it or not, we raise policies, advices, and all that. So they should pay us that 7.5 months that they are still owing. It will help the government. It will also show his disposition to education.
Okay.
Because we are aware that while the negotiation went on with the SY president, he was involved. He wanted, even the SA in Bajabi Amina was involved in that negotiation. And so why are we still waiting, experiencing this delay now? If you had gone to the former president to plead, and now you are now in power, why not release the money and get support from this arm of society?
Okay, back to the conversation. Let's look at your opinion in respect of the amount that should be benchmarked, for students whose parents earn salaries, because according to the Act, those students whose parents earn salaries annually above 500,000 naira will be disqualified. So what's your opinion as regards what should be obtainable as per the annual income that would guarantee qualification for such students?
I thought that government will sit with CVCs, Committee of Vice Chancellors.
Okay.
And I'll say, okay, if we do this, if we give students a loan, and we are going to withdraw our subvention to the universities.
Although that has not been said.
No, I'm telling you that this proposal, you need to think ahead.
Okay.
What do you think will be the school fees of an average student? Then, from their response or responses, then you can now decide on where to benchmark the loan thing. That's my take.
Okay.
You cannot just sit now, supposing you're saying above, and they now come to school fees at 1 million naira. How is a parent that is earning 30,000 going to pay a child way through school that is paying 1 million naira school fees? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That is why they need to sit down. We need to be working with, research, information, proposals. You understand? That is my take.
Okay, let's look at the role of state governments in this, because the president just made his bit as regards how to assuage the challenges or feelings of the indigent students.
Yeah.
What should be the role of state governors in terms of also, assuaging or ameliorating the plights of the indigents? Shouldn't they also have a bite, like you said earlier, where other bodies can come in to also help, ameliorate the plight of students. Shouldn't the state government also have a bite in this?
You know, I opened the channel before. I mentioned government going to the grassroots.
Yeah.
At the local government level, state government level, going to the grassroots to appeal to members of the community to assist governments.
Yeah.
They also should come. They should look at what education can do for such an environment. I've said before.
Like the challenges we are faced with at present at Abrosali University.
Yes. It should come down and then know what. It's not just by increasing. If the governor drives into Abrosali and holds a town hall meeting with staff and students, hoping they will be disciplined enough to listen to the governor, is to now reel out the conditions, the problems of government, and then provide also some alternatives on what can be done and all that. Some palliatives that government, yours sincerely here at the Ministry of Science and Technology, I'll be giving a talk later this month on how we can rejig industrialization in Edo State, for instance.
Okay.
You know, there were, if you remember, there are a group of people we used to call Ojogun. Do you know them? Maybe you won't know that name. It's a traditional name. Okay. These are people who make farm implements and all of that from just small fire and all. You remember them? And all that. Things like that, they have all gone comatose and all that. There were so many traditional things that were done.
I think that made technology Eagle Street popular.
Yes. There were those technologies, for instance, that our people can raise money with. There are so many other, even system of cropping, types of crops and all that, that the government should bring closer to the people now. There are storage facilities, different ways to help the communities raise, to increase their economic strength and all that. And they do this, they'll be able to fund this education. We don't just increase school fees and then leave the people where they are. Or what they are going to do instead is that many will now fall out of school. That is what is going to happen. Many children will fall out of school, and that becomes another problem because you must find them something to do. And so if they don't find anything to do, we've been told that an idle person is the devil's workshop.
Yeah, devil's workshop.
That is what we know. So something must,
Okay.
You can't live in a vacuum.
Okay. Well, as a way of digression, there has been discussions, conversations over the removal of petrol subsidy and what should be the salary of workers as minimum wage. Now, because we must visit this aspect because if parents are not able to get enough resources, to take care of the children's fees, they may also run out of ability to sponsor their children in public university or public schools. Now, what do you see as a benchmark, looking at the removal of petrol subsidy and the economic hardship we are faced with at present, as regards what the government should be, increasing the minimum wage towards?
Excuse me. You see, these things can be calculated. You have to sit down and calculate what it will cost a family to feed, to feed their family. If the government has said, okay, you are entitled to 4 children, isn't it?
Okay.
In a home.
That's quite huge. Looking at the present.
Let's say we have. Okay, fine. Let's say we have a maximum, a family of 4.
Okay. Which
means 2, father and mother.
Of course, yes.
And then calculate what it will take them to feed in a month. Do you understand? You do that. You now look at their electricity costs.
Oh, that's you don't go there.
You put that. Then you look at transportation.
Huge.
Basic amenities. Find out what it might cost such a family. And of course, you allow, since you don't have good transport system, you allow a family to own just one car. And
That's
find
where the
out,
trouble starts.
and say, okay, this
Fueling
family,
the car.
yeah, will fuel their vehicle once in a month. How much will it take an average car? Will take any person, car owner to fill the tank
Is it
of a petrol?
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
You do that completely. Because right now, nobody can fill anything. No car will take less than 20,000 naira to fill it. You understand? And then let's expect that you are using that for the whole month. When you finish all of that, you now put down and now say, this is what it will take. Except we are going to cheat on the people or thereabout.
Okay, but what you just said now,
Yes.
summarily,
Yes.
the sum is far over 200,000.
As a minimum wage.
Yes.
Are they not the one that have visited the problem on the people? Otherwise, I've been talking. Can government kindly reduce the cost of governance? Because we all came to the surface of this earth here. For the average person, the goals that the society expects from anybody, to be comfortable or wealthy or famous. And then you have the means to achieve those goals. If you're looking at what we call the anomia theory and all of this, you know, hard work, education and all that, you provide all of that to be able to achieve. Those are the average goals. You won't think that you should just be there, up there, and the others. They are not slaves, except you have taken others as slaves or captive in the society. We are all citizens. You see, a friend told me, in Canada, for instance, no matter how high the salary that you earn, the amount of tax will bring you to an average. Everybody is on a kind of a particular level of purchasing power.
Yes, trying to bring about an egalitarian society.
That's
so whatever taxes that the rich pay, they are using it to leverage on the poor.
Yes. That is what...
That's a perfect system.
That is the system. That is what is expected.
Okay, but if you want to drive it even from the bills passed by the National Assembly, that will become a challenge because they will seem like shooting their foot, you know, in terms of reducing the cost of governance, because it starts with the emoluments.
We are talking about being realistic here. You know, there was the rumor that came out that they were increasing their pay with about 114% and all that. You know, like I said on another fora, I said, you know, there's no smoke without fire and all that. But if there is anything to go back, is that what we should be doing? We should be cutting cost of governance. We should
and make it less attractive.
Yes.
Because the rate at which politicians
that is why everybody now
rally around and even close their businesses, you know, to purchase a form, nomination form.
Somebody said
there's something that they are looking at.
One state governor in the south said he had very big over there. he had I'm saying hard now, a big laboratory outfit.
Because our president no longer has it.
And then he went to contest election and won and became a senator. And he came back to them in the lab that they can do anything, that the money he was looking for all his life, for 6 months as a senator, he had made it.
Wow. And
since then, he has not left the corridors of power, because from becoming a senator, he had become a governor. He's still there today as a governor. And so, if you look at all of that, so why we such persons? But we are saying, be humane. Have the mind of the people. Know that these are also human beings like you. If care is not taken while you were in school, you are not better than them. If you are given an opportunity to do a 100-meter race, you might not defeat them. Why do you think you are now a superhuman being or a superior human being? Why not also, while you are providing for yourself, provide, if not at least half or an average for them?
All right.
It's just to have that mind.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor Julius Iyasele, for taking our time to be part of this discussion. And you defied the rainfall, you know, to find your way here. And we must say that big thanks to you.
Thank you
And,
for having me.
we hope you oblige in our subsequent
Thank you for having me.
invitations on this show. Well, this though we'll call it a wrap on today's edition of TMI. We do this same time tomorrow, but don't forget after this time out we're gonna be having business rendezvous shortly. Happy viewing.